2020. If you have any business, questions, concerns, come up to a podium here and give us your name and address and tell us what's on your mind. Would you call the roll, please?
Cedar,
Here.
Ellery,
Here.
Kinsfater,
Here.
Kufa,
Here.
Laporte,
Here.
McCartney,
Here.
Watt,
Here.
all present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Have some bids on 8th Street. This is not on the agenda. If somebody wants to entertain a motion, put it on there to talk about it, we can do that. If not, it's just information.
I'd make a motion that we add it to the agenda, Your Honor.
I'll support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Put it under E, number 8E, 8th Street. We can have a little talk about that if you like. Consent agenda, A, Senate Council minutes of August 17th, 2020, regular and closed meetings, recommendation approved. B is the City Council minutes of September 2nd, 2020, special meeting approved. C is the Zoning Board of Appeals minutes of June 17th, 2020, meeting recommendation received. And D is the Harbor Commission minutes, July 7th, 2020, meeting recommendation received.
Motion to approve A through D as presented, Your Honor.
Motion's made. Any questions? Annette, was there something about the attendance I saw? Is that fixed?
Yes, yep, I provided council with the updated copy of the September 2nd minutes.
All right, thank you. Anybody else with a question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to number 5, ordinance and resolution. We have none of that. Of course, administration, Mr. Rothy.
Sure. Three quick items tonight. For MEDC project Seinfeld, for the development project associated with the industrial park, we had a stakeholder meeting last week with all the different bureaucracy members, if you will, road commission, city, engineer. Went very well. We're going to continue those meetings on a regular schedule. Don't have a schedule yet. Next steps are going through Zoning Board of Appeals, which is tomorrow night, and then site plan review with the Planning Commission, which is a week from tomorrow. So work on that move is continuing. The city did receive from MDOT a conditional commitment for the Clinton Avenue bike path, which isn't final funding approval, but it's a little bit more than we like your application. What the next steps are, how MDOT does their funding, is once you get the conditional commitment, you can proceed with your design work. Did not have a chance to get a proposal from AEW for design work services for your approval this evening, anticipating that next week. One of the big things in that design and proposal is going to be the inclusion of some public outreach and public comment components to the design work. That way, as the path is designed, the public, in particular the residents who live on that street, will have the opportunity to participate in that process. And the entire cost of this proposal that is yet to be before us is covered by a grant we will receive simultaneously from the Community Foundation of St. Clair. So that's coming. Don't have it yet, but that's where we stand on that project. Lastly, regarding sidewalks, thank you to Member Kinsfater, who went out and walked his ward, identifying some bad area of sidewalks. We're able to take care of some of those areas. We got a few different quotes for sidewalk work. In total, we're going to be replacing just about 200 feet of a sidewalk, and other money for sidewalk that we have to spend is going to be kind of reallocated based on the grant we got, which is for the bike path improvements, which is later on our agenda this evening. That's why we're only doing about $5,000 worth of work in areas in Ward 1, and then we'll do additional work on the bike path, assuming council accepts one of the proposals before them this evening. And with that, I have nothing else in my report right now.
Do you want to give a little update on the water plant?
Oh, yes. Early in the morning on Labor Day, it's likely that a lightning strike at the water treatment plant fried one of the computer cards from the SCADA system, which is the brains of the system, and it was after they replaced it with the replacement card, that was fried as well. Before they identified the issue was a strong surge of voltage coming from the water tower itself back into the plant. I'm not an electrical expert. I don't know exactly how all of it works, but since yesterday morning, the plant has been staffed 24/7 by the operators, but the replacement part will be in tomorrow morning and replaced. But it's just another example of the the really old and fragile electrical systems in that plant. Again, they're original to the plant, which is either late 60s, early 70s. And again, it's all the electrical upgrades and making everything more reliable, more safe. That's all part of that study that's being done and will likely be incorporated in the proposed improvements that will begin next calendar year.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Rothy?
I do have one, Your Honor, if I may. The crosswalk sign at J&M 29 been missing since around the 1st of June. Has there been any action to replace them?
Chief, you want to talk about that a little bit?
I know it's an MDOT requirement, or an MDOT issue.
We're just trying to figure out where to put it. Because when we put it where it needs to be, the trucks coming off J Street that make deliveries to the plaza are tearing it up. Or it gets caught in the blind spot of the cars and they're running it over. So we have to find a different place to put it, whether we buy another one and have one at each curb, but we can't put it in the middle of the road because they keep running over it. So, and now it's going to snow, so it'll be out next spring, but that just gives us time to figure out.
Have we thought about relocating the crosswalk, maybe in front of the bank more?
Yeah, actually, the mayor and I talked about that, maybe moving it either closer to the plaza where more people actually, the end of the plaza where the laundromat is, more people cross the road there than they do at J.
Yeah, you see that all the time.
So
That's true. Okay.
I just don't know what kind of permission we need to paint that. But
And I will add that next year, spring or summer, MDOT is scheduled to go through and redo all the crosswalks on M29 in St. Clair. So if we desire to relocate one or add one, it's good timing because that's coming up.
They have to approve that, I believe, don't they?
I'm not familiar with the process on how it works, but we're in active
Beast's just going to paint one out there.
I'd like to see
That's not
I'd like to
bad.
see that.
Anything else for Mr. Rothy? Mr. Downey, you got anything over there?
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Any questions for Mr. Downey? Any city departments?
just want to let you know that if you're bored Sunday afternoon, our department and Port Huron PD are teaming up to play a charity softball game against Blue Water Recovery, BW Rock. So it'll be 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon at Pine Grove Park, and it's going to be a fundraiser for BW Rock and a way for the police to kind of develop a relationship with the recovery community. So it should be fun, and it's not supposed to rain, so.
Good luck, Coach. Good luck, Coach. We'll go to D, authorities and boards, commissions.
Your Honor.
Yes,
I have a small report, please.
sir.
Just wanted to update everybody on how elections are going in the city. Everything's going well. We've received 703 applications already for ballots. I expect that to continue to increase, and we'll probably surpass August. I'm pretty confident in that. And I also just wanted to give a PSA on all these applications that everyone's receiving. At every presidential election, different groups send out applications. They're legitimate groups. They're all legitimate applications. If somebody fills one out more than once, they still only get one ballot, but there's only one application from the city of St. Clair. It's red, white, and blue. It's a postcard. My permanent voters know what it looks like. But these other applications, there's political groups, there's nonpartisan groups. The Secretary of State's office sent them out also. So that is anticipated. It's not out of the ordinary. I just wanted to make a public announcement that we know about it. It's expected. And if you have any questions, call your local clerk's office. We are the best person to communicate with you, current election law, and we're happy to do so. So I wanted to summarize that and then also just share a little bit of good news in different things in the clerk's department. We're starting to receive some special event requests. There's one on the agenda today. Halloween weekends and St. Mary's Festival will be coming before you too. They're modified events, they're different, but that's just positive that we're moving in the right direction, still following all executive orders, but people still want things to do in the city. And then lastly, we've received a couple new business license applications too. So even in the midst of the pandemic, we have people opening home occupations. We have a new clothing boutique that's going to be opening up. And I just wanted to share that with everybody that the city's still moving in the right direction.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll go to 7, there's no unfinished business. Number 8, new business, approve 1-year extension of lawn maintenance services. Mr. Rothy.
Yes, so 2 years ago, D&E Landscaping and Grading was awarded the bid for mowing and trimming lawn maintenance contract. It was for a 2-year term that expires this December 31st. As part of the original RFP, there was language that said if the city council wished, they could extend the agreement for 1 year. We have spoken with D&E. They are holding all their pricing constant with what we've been charged the last 2 years. The Cemetery Board of Trustees, and I know Member McCartney could speak of this, gave a unanimous recommendation to the City Council to continue these services with D&E Landscaping for an additional year. There is a small increase in cost, and that was because over the last really year, we've added 4 locations to the mowing contract. Those were all within the existing budget and were planned for in the budget in next fiscal year. So with the high rate of satisfaction, Cemetery Board recommendation, and just overall quality of service we've received, I recommend that a motion to extend the contract for 1 year be made. And then this contract will be bid out again next year.
Your Honor, I'd make the motion to extend the contract.
Support.
Motion made, supported, questions?
How much was the additional 4 properties?
So those are the ones highlighted green. So that's the total of those costs. So that would be $1,200 roughly for
5,000.
about 5,000 total.
Who cut those properties before?
The water plant was done in-house with a mower that essentially just stopped working. And instead of buying a new mower, we thought we would add it at the end of the season to mow that property. I do not know who mowed the other ones before.
I mean, I would just like to go on the record as saying that through my time on the cemetery board, we've used 3 or 4 different lawn contractors, and D&E by far has done the best job, less damage, more responsive. And if it was up to the board of directors, they would probably be the only ones that would cut the grass. And they're understanding that money's money, but they have done a great job down at the cemetery. So.
Yeah.
And then I do have a question for supervision. Are we still mowing lawn, DPW?
Only with people don't mow their grass, then they send us out to do it.
With the rates that we get from these lawn care providers, why wouldn't we just tack that on to them and say,
I think it'd be a scheduling thing. Because they,
oh, they're here every Thursday?
yeah, but
So-
they're
I mean,
they're
no,
dark every
by the time we get around to mowing someone's grass that hasn't mowed it in 3 months, we've already 3 months of looking at high grass. I'm just trying to see if there's a savings to the city from lawn equipment, from time where we could be devoting to other things like crack sealing or sidewalk repair or things like that, Bob. That's not critical to DPW, just looking at,
I didn't take it to offense.
yeah, that we shouldn't be in a lawn care business, I don't think.
How many lawns do you think you cut in a year?
Not that many. There's probably only 5 or 6, really.
Yeah.
Some of them are reoccurring, because for one reason or another, like right now, there's a mistake that we're cutting reoccurring. So we decided it's going to happen, I guess. But we cut the bike path going out to the township, and actually the bike path all the way through. We cut that whole thing. So.
I'm just wondering if we shouldn't add that to a bid, an RFP next year, just to see what that those items would cost us versus what is it costing us in real time to have a DPW employee mow the lawns.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. But, so in the memo, it says no rate increase, but we're just saying that it's more because of the 4.
Yes, yeah, it's more. We added locations throughout the year, and there were funds available in the budget this year, and there's some funds that were set aside for it in next year's budget.
All right, the motion made, support. Is there any other questions? All right, call the roll, please.
Ellery?
Yes.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Watt?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, we'll go to B, approve a proposal for 2021 property and liability insurance renewal. Mr. Rothy?
Before you is the annual renewal for property and liability insurance. City His insurance provider is the Michigan Municipal League Liability Pool. I was not here for the renewal last year, but I did a renewal at my previous community I worked in. I'm very satisfied with the coverage of MML. The staff has good working relationships with everybody. They do a quality service. There is a premium increase this year, done primarily with the increases in payroll, property value increases, and then we did add 3 vehicles, which was the F-250, the F-550 leaf trucks that you purchased last fiscal year, as well as the new police cruiser. So the premium increase is $5,399 is completely offset by the annual dividend we receive, which is going to be in the amount of $6,134. So I am recommending we approve the renewal of the property insurance.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support the motion.
All right, the motion made, support. Questions?
I do have a question, Your Honor.
Yep.
We talk about this every time this comes up for renewal. Are there other municipalities that are using a different insurance company other than Michigan Municipal League? And if they are, shouldn't we be go out and quoting them against MLC?
I can speak to that a little bit. So what I see typically is there's really 2 companies out there that insure, I don't want to say 80% of Michigan municipalities, but it's probably around 80%. Well, that is the Michigan Municipal League, which we have, and then the other one is, I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's MIRMA. Those are the 2 main leaders in the game. They're pretty competitive with each other. There's different benefits. I don't believe they give a dividend to their members like the Michigan Municipal League does. Typically when I see these things bid out too, it usually comes down to these 2 specialized firms. Again, this is what they do is they insure municipal clients exclusively, so you get, they understand what our needs are, and at the end of the day, I think, we would probably fall in line with one of those 2. That being said, if council wishes to do the RFP process for next year's renewal.
Well, we've talked about it every time.
Yeah, we never do.
Every time we approve this, we talk about it, and we never give any direction to the administration.
I know you got something on that, but.
I do. It was maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we did. I conducted an intense, thorough evaluation, and 2 companies did bid, one being MML, and ultimately council did approve MML. So we did recently put it out. I think it was Nickel and Saf, maybe?
It was.
The other one?
That's what I was going to say, was
They were very,
Saf.
very close. So I just wanted to reiterate that we did, and I think the idea was maybe every 3 to 4 years to pick one of our bigger contracts and focus on that.
It's funny how sharp an insurance company's pencil will get when they know you're against somebody else.
Do we still have time to put this out to bid, or? No.
No, it renews October 1st.
Anybody else? All right, motion made, support. Call the roll, please.
Kinsfater,
Yes.
Koopa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney,
Yes?
Watt,
Yes.
Ellery,
Yes.
Cedar,
Yes.
carried, Your Honor.
Thank you. C is award bike path improvement proposal. Mr. Roque.
Yes, so I'll have a few things to discuss here. As you are aware, the city received a $10,000 grant from the Community Foundation of Southeast Michigan to be used exclusively for the purpose of maintaining and improving the existing bike path we have that primarily goes down Kearney Drive. When we put the grant application together a few months ago, we know it was a 1-for-1. So we get $10,000, but we have to spend $10,000. So $20,000 project minimum. When we first started out, we talked with TG Priest, had a preliminary cost estimate to do some work in the amount of $10,000 for the purposes of making the grant application. Once we knew we were going out for the grants, Director Beath went out with some contractors and did essentially a site walk, and just, they went over the areas of the pathway to improve. And at the end of the day, we received the bid from TG Priest in the amount of 19, for it to have the right page, $19,250 to redo all the areas of the bike path that you see illustrated as part of their quote. And again, so the thinking was We have $10,000 coming our way, so this is about a $9,000 project out of the city. And knowing that we wanted to do some work on sidewalks, you know, I looked at kind of ahead what we had left in our street funds. Because again, our street funds don't have a ton of money as their revenues have been reduced for the last few the months that gas taxes weren't coming in when everybody was at home. So I thought that where's I going with that? So with this project, we have with the funds we had available, it was okay. Let's do 5,000 of sidewalk work in Ward 1, and then the rest of the money that we can do for sidewalks, let's use because we got this grant. And the logic being, bike path, is kind of a greatest good for greatest number of people approach to spending our resources on non-motorized transportation. So that was the proposal we got. Simultaneously now, one of the things I was asked to by Member McCartney and Mayor Cedar was to have DPW go and get quotes from our current contractors for a road project, which would be repaving one block of 8th Street from Witherall, Witherall to Clinton. And so that was the item we added on the agenda. And when we went out for those quotes, we asked the contractors to provide, to get more pricing to go against the TG Priest's bike path proposal. So we only had one other firm respond to our request for the bike path paving, and that was Raymond Excavating. Their pathway proposal, their total proposal for the bike path and 8th Street paving is just about $85,000. Of that, 58,000 or 59,000 rounding up is what they would charge the city to do the pathway improvements. So again, TG Priest's bid, $19,250. Raymond's bid, $58,819 for the bike pathway improvements. So at the end of the day, we don't have funding to meet Raymond's bid, but we do have funding for TG Priest's bid. So the proposal from administration for the bike path would be accept the bid from TG Priest to move forward with those repairs. Again, $19,000 project, $10,000 is paid for by the grant we're going to receive. And then when we go to the agenda item for 8th Street and Witherall, we have 3 quotes for that project. If council would like to move forward on that one too. So I just want to give you a
D first, maybe?
Bike path thing.
Yeah, let's handle
Yeah.
D first.
So that's kind of where that's all the materials in front of you and the history of how they all got before you.
So where's the $10,000 coming from? Or the 9? Are we
So-
paying 10,000 or 920?
So we would pay $9,250. That would come from the major street fund, maintenance budgets. There's sufficient funds budgeted to again go towards both go to sidewalks, and of that, I thought okay we could probably do about 15 grand sidewalks, major street fund. We'll do 5,000 in the areas identified by yourself. And then the rest would all come from the existing funds available in this year's budget.
And that's where we plan to get any money for repairing the bike path is out of the road fund? Is that
For
correct?
this project, yes, because you can spend
Just
it
this
on...
project, this isn't, we're not setting a precedent or we're not...
No, so you can spend Act 51 or street tax dollars on non-motorized transportation. You're actually required to spend so much money, it's a very small amount of money, on non-motorized transportation over... It's like a 10-year rolling average. So part of the street funds are designed to cover, sidewalk and bike path enhancement. Basically any non-motorized transportation in the city right of way.
Well, I'd like to take advantage of the grant and move to approve.
I'm just curious,
Close.
I would too, but I think $5,000 that we're spending on sidewalks. How many feet did you say? What was that?
200.
200 feet of sidewalk we're going to take care of. And the sidewalks have been bad before we even built the bike path. Now, it just seems like we're draining out of one fund into something that's relatively newer. You know what I'm saying? And now we're talking about building more bike paths and stuff, and at what point in time are we going to do sidewalks? That's me venting.
why is Raymond's Excavating more than double than TJ Price?
No idea.
Did you look over both bids?
I walked both guys through both projects.
Price, not get everything, or it's just?
Oh, yeah, we got everything.
I still make the motion, Your Honor.
I marked the,
Hasn't been supported?
the sections.
It hasn't been
that we
supported,
wanted.
but we discussed on a motion, hasn't been supported.
All right.
Wasn't Price doing part of our work now?
They did a parking lot here, and they don't have any other paving doing that this year.
Lynette, has the motion been made and supported?
Member
No.
McCartney made it.
No, I do not have a motion for the bike path.
I made a motion to approve Pre's
Oh, I'm
contract
sorry, I
for a
didn't
bike
hear
path.
you. Was it seconded?
No.
I'm sorry, Member McCartney.
Okay, the motion's been made by Member McCartney. Do I have support for that motion?
Yeah, I'll support it.
All right, the motion's made, supported. Questions?
Is the motion to approve the proposal by TG Priest as presented?
Just, I want to remind everybody, if you lose the grant, you lose the grant forever. So, when you have free money coming in to help repair something that is used all the time, it's tough to walk away from, in my opinion. And then for those of you that sit on planning, you realize that not only are bike paths and non-motorized paths a part of the next round of the master plan, there's a lot of things that are going to be in the master plan that we're going to have to address and take care of, because that's just the way things are moving. Most communities today, they have bike paths, they have walkable paths. And then I just want to address what Member Kinsfather was mentioning. If Clinton Avenue bike path were to be approved and it does get completed, that's going to take care of over a mile of bike path, of sidewalks, just down one of our major streets that have probably crappy sidewalks in the second ward from Kearney Drive to M29 along Clinton Avenue. So
All right,
there's
thank
a
you.
lot of
And
things.
we'll skin that cat, obviously, when we get there, but for now, we have the motions made, supported for the pre-award. Any other discussion? All right, call the roll, please.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Watt?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yes.
Kinsfather?
Yeah.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carrie Drowner?
All right, thank you. D, special event permit, annual Santa Claus and Celebration of Lights. Chief?
Yeah, I received all the paperwork and the request for the annual Christmas parade, Friday before Thanksgiving, I believe it is, because I don't have that paperwork with me, but, and they are going to obey every executive order that is in place at that time.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions?
Just asterisk, they're asking council to make a decision whether or not to have this? Is that what we're doing here? We're making the decision to have this?
I think we just approved
Yeah.
the application, so.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying.
I saw that on there.
I'm like,
So are we-
I've never seen that on one
Yeah, I
before.
haven't either. I mean, it's kind of like.
Sue didn't want to make the decision. She said you guys could make that decision.
Well, we approved her permit application, so there's a decision.
Yeah, that's what I would.
Well, we haven't approved it yet.
Once we vote. Any other
Motion to
discussion?
approve.
Has the motion been made and supported?
Yes, Your Honor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Chief.
Sue got her
Give Santa Claus a hard time, don't they? All right, let's go to the 8th Street thing.
Yes, so it was brought to my attention that whenever it rains, there's significant washout of the roadway on 8th Street, specifically between Clinton and Witherall. At the request of several members of council, I was instructed to reach out to our current contractors who are performing road work in the city this year, Raymond, Murray, and then we also reached out to TG Priest as well, just to basically, recurb and gutter both sides, pave that single block of roadway on 8th Street. And again, at their request, I have 3 quotes for you today to consider. One is from Raymond Murray Underground in the amount of $24,009. Raymond Excavating's bid is because they bid their thing as the bike path and 18th Street, so the base price of 8th Street, not 18th Street, was $26,043. But if they were not awarded the bike path bid, which they were not, it would be $5,000 more. So that takes their bid to $31,043. And then the high bidder was TG Priest's which we use the without 21 AA limestone base price, which would be $39,024. So the low price for this work, again, repaving one block of a local street, $24,009. That's all I have to say.
Tom, do you want to give a little background on it? And then I'll
Well, I
chime in?
will, Your Honor. Probably since I've been on council, I must have been called probably at least a dozen times, and it's usually after every major rainstorm that 8th Street is washed out into the property owner that lives on the corner of 8th and Clinton Avenue on the east side of 8th Street. And it's significant. The last major rain we had, I know this time DPW had to go up and clean the gravel out of the yard, his driveway, the patio, and got into his barn. So he's been complaining about this for the 12 years I've been on council. And there's been no remedy other than we did put a curb in on the east side of 8th Street, but now the last major storm, I haven't been up there since last night's rain, but the last major storm we had, the road's now undermining the curb. The gravel was washed right out from underneath the curb side of it. So I was one of the ones that made the request that we have this looked at and take action on it. So that's kind of where this is. It's been going on for a long, long time.
Bob, do you want to add anything to that? I know you've been pretty involved. If you do, come up here so we can get this on TV.
Well, there's a lot of the water comes down Witherell, and then it makes the turn and comes down 8th Street. So there's a lot more water than just on 8th Street. And what we're looking at doing now is we're going to change the angle on the intersection so Witherell water stays on Witherell, and the only water going to be coming down 8th is what falls on 8th. And we did that last year by putting a cold patch, like speed bump across the intersection just to see if that worked, and it did. And so it was just cold patch, so it got worn away and the snow plows ground it down, and then the problem came back again. So we know how to fix the problem, and it needs to be fixed.
Can you address what's going on with that curb on the east side because of what's happening over there?
It's just the water coming up to the curb and cutting out the face of the curb.
Let's wash the gravel out.
Yeah, it's washing the gravel out. Yeah, but should cure everything. Should cure all the problems.
So council, really, you don't have to take any action on this. We wanted to bring to your attention what the curbing that the city put in, as Bob and Tom mentioned, is being undercut. And from my reconnoiter of it, we need to do something before we're replacing the curb too. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah. Yeah, we keep patching it up, and it just washes away with the next storm.
Where would the money be coming from?
This would be taken from fund balance of the local streets fund. It's an unbudgeted project. A budget amendment might be prepared depending on when they can do the project. Otherwise, it'll trickle into next fiscal year's budget.
When can they do the project?
Murray is starting on Cass, and he's going to do this project at the same time. So he'll be starting on Cass possibly this week. He's going to start pulling curbs and doing tear out. So
probably approving it at this meeting would be necessary?
yeah, because he's going to want to do them both at the same time naturally.
So if we let it go, it's going to cost way more money.
Yeah, he's got everything there. His equipment's all there.
Right.
The asphalt company is going to be right there. It's the best time to do it, for sure.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll support your motion, man.
I would suggest we waive the sealed bid requirement because we did not get sealed bids for this. It was more just
I'll include
contact.
waiving the sealed bid.
I'll support that.
All right, the motion is made, supported to waive the competitive bid and accept the bid from Murray Underground for $24,009 for the 8th Street from Witherell to Clinton Avenue repair. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney,
Yes.
Swat,
Yes.
Ellery,
Yes.
Kinsfater,
Yes.
Koopa,
Yes.
Cedar,
Yes,
Carried, Your Honor.
thank you.
Lauren, what is the status for the rest of the roads that are supposed to be repaired?
St. Clair Highway tentative start date's September 21st. Cass, like Director B said, will be,
Equipment's already set.
I want to get St. Clair Highway done before 8th Street.
different contractors.
Yeah. it's a different-
He's waiting, he should be starting that. I talked to him the other day, they're done with the boring for the brine line going feeding Cargill, and they're waiting for that heavy equipment to stop the running back and forth, so I would expect that was Raymond that got that, wasn't it?
Right.
I expect him to have that done.
I talked to Ralph 2 days ago at Rankins, and he said September 21st.
All right. Okay, number 9, claims of accounts, August 20th, 27th, 2020, September 3rd, 2020.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, make the motion to approve as presented. Or.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A public comment, 3 minutes, any non-agenda items. Ms. Wilbur Kleeman.
So, 1374 South Riverside, the way we're gonna fix 8th Street, could we possibly do that to Oak?
Say that again.
Could we do the same thing to Oak Street that we're doing to 8th? Is that possible?
That's possible.
Because Oak Street is down on the intersection again this morning. And yesterday I was down there and I seen a gentleman out there in the road with a rake and a shovel, trying to fill holes so he could get in on his driveway.
The gentleman on the corner facing South Riverside?
Gentleman on the south side of, would be on the south side of Oak Street. But we found a fix for 8th Street. We need to find this, I can't see why we can't do the same fix on Oak. Because Oak Street is at the bottom of the hill now, Bob. And your catch basin, again.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let's go to number 11, Mayor and Council, comments, announcements. Mr. Ellery.
A couple of weeks ago, we had an event in town, and I just want to put my 2 cents in about it. Nobody got a special event permit for it. No vendor permits. And the signs that they used, being as it was a political rally, were oversized, and they were in violation. I hope that this doesn't happen again, regardless of what party it is. And something should be done about it. After all, we didn't let ACE put signs up. We didn't let Warwater put signs up. They asked for permits to do that. There's no reason why they should. Also, I'd like to see maybe a stop parking signs along South Riverside, the corner of Palmer. When those people, the people that live in the apartments, don't park in their parking area, they park on that street. And when you come through there, you only have 1 lane. And it's very dangerous. I've seen kids come out in between there. It's just not a good situation. And I hope that somebody takes it to notice.
We tried to get that done a couple years ago, Steve. When I brought
Why
that up,
didn't they
I
do
don't
it?
have any idea why. They're not using the parking lots behind those apartments anymore. They're parking along South Riverside. And they
Because they're
right
too
from-
lazy to
right
walk
from
around.
Right from the stop sign back to the 3rd apartment, and it should not be allowed. There should be no parking both sides. They've got enough parking out back in their parking lots. There shouldn't be, even the apartments farther down towards Oak Street. They're not using their parking lots, they're parking out front. And at Riverside should be no parking both sides, my opinion.
Okay, the other thing that I got is, one more thing. Gordon Potter sent that petition in to get the striping changed in front of his place on, it'd be on South River, Oak. And I didn't even know about it until I come in and talk to you. When something comes up in my ward, I'd like to know about it. I think that would have been the proper thing to do. Instead, I get a phone call from him and he's all mad. I have no clue what he's talking about.
What was the petition for?
Pardon me?
What was the petition for?
He wanted to get the striping changed on Oakland. They got everything on one side. Puts the cars right up on their curb, close to their mailboxes. And that's what he's complaining about. And everybody in that neighborhood signed it. There was 25 people signed it. I hear, because I didn't see that.
MDOT responded to that petition, I thought was in our packet.
Yeah, I was aware of the petition, so was the mayor on this, and it was one of the things I've been working on behind the scenes is having a few different meetings with MDOT on a variety of issues with M29. MDOT's initial response to the petition was not very favorable, and that's been communicated back with Mr. Potter and the petition signers, and included in your packet today. Member Ellery came in and spoke with me last week. I submitted a bunch of documents for your review, which is basically all the correspondence on all the issues M29. So I hope you all have the chance to review that. Going forward, I want to continue the conversation with MDOT, try and see if there perhaps is a different person to talk to get the desired response.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I agree with Steve. Contrary, that issue was discussed 2-3 years ago about the park.
Can't the fire department go down there and put a stop to that?
Well, they changed it.
I know the police can, but I mean, the fire, it might even be a fire truck.
Yeah, the fire department doesn't go down there and put up signs though.
All right, we'll go to number 12, closed session. Request for closed session to discuss strategy connected with legal counsel for the purpose of discussing pending litigation and collective bargaining agreement with.
So move, Your Honor.
Support.
Motion made, supported. Call the roll, please.
McCartney?
Yes.
Swat?
Yes.
Ellery?
Yeah.
Kinsfater?
Yeah.
Kupa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We may take action when we come back out. You're absolutely more than welcome to hang around. If not, have a safe night. Careful out there.